So if you watched the last video, I know it was quite short, but it did take an awful long time to try and get me self sorted out with moving these vehicles. So the bug's now on the opposite side of the garage, and that's going to hopefully be a lot easier for me to wheel in and out and allow the bus to be put at an angle so I can walk around the entirety of it to start the spraying. I've got all the brackets off for the deck lid, ready for a scrubbing down and eventually a paint. I've got the correct heater cable also to feed through to them rear tubes. So I've got some new wire run, that's in the front there for an LED light. And also up at the rear end, I don't know where that's going to be located yet, but that's going to give me ample opportunity to run it where I want to. So I've got both wires that come down basically where the C-pillar is, and they exit down the bottom there, and that's going to go to my fuse box, which is hopefully going to be underneath the rear seat area somewhere. So to get these wires through that C-pillar though, it was a real chore, and there's no direct route for the wires to pass through, so it involved me actually taking this plate off of the front, cutting an inspection hole in that area, a little bit of drilling here and there, and a lot of fishing for the wire to go through. And I don't know how they done it before, because there was actually a single core wire that run down all the way to the back to I think it was to feed, yeah, it was to feed an additional light also, but I obviously wanted the twin core cable to be run for that light and others. This is the directional LED batten that I'm going to be putting in place, and it should prove useful because you can adjust it into whatever direction you want, especially if the bunk beds are open up in a pop top. And I'm using these neat little connectors that you shrink on with the heat gun. Anyway, back to it. What's all this about? So I guess I found myself inside some sort of Dexter's killing room. Yeah, there's definitely not a great deal of room in here for me to get the spraying done, especially when it comes to the offside of the car, but hopefully I should be able to roll her back and then bring her forward again at a slight angle, just to give myself a little bit more room. I mean, there's still panels at the side of the garage that I can move out also, just to give me that extra foot. But I was a little bit impatient, and I did want to get some paint down, and unfortunately my compressor hose fitting at one end had cracked. So I wanted to get on, and then I resulted in using my electric spray gun, or should I say splurge gun, and that's exactly what it done. It splurged paint, as I've learned before, all over that rear parcel shelf there, and I actually resulted in brushing it, the remnants out of the pot, brushing it onto the parcel shelf area. The dash, it came out okay. It's pretty flat after I've given it a little sand, and obviously there's some areas that I've burnt away which required flattening out. Found a barbed fitting basically that I've hose clipped on there, so that's now fixed, and I've also set my gun up. It's all ready to rock and roll. I think it's going to prove challenging actually to get these lower bits sprayed up underneath the nose cone and around the beam area. I mean, if you've got any suggestions, just put them in the comments there, but I can only think of maybe raising it a little bit, getting the plastic sheeting underneath, and actually getting up underneath there to get the spraying done. And that's the same with the running boards, or the heater channel should I say, up underneath that bit. It's surprising how much dust the sheet has actually caught already. I mean, obviously I've got wind gaps coming up above the roller shutter door, etc., but you can see it. My intention was actually to get the bus painted first in primer, but seeing as the Beetle's in a fairly good position now, I think I'm just going to go with it. So next step is to wait for a fairly warmish day and get this wiped down, get it cleaned, and then put the filler primer on. Once the first coat of primer has been applied, I'll then sand it back, see if there's any rough areas, then hit it again with a second coat of primer. After the second coat of primer, I'll sand it again and then I'll hit it with an undercoat. So I'm just playing a waiting game now, so until then, make it better than it was and I'll see you on the next one.